us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And so we wanted to talk to you today about your contribution to the Fabric of America Artisan Protest exhibition that has just opened at the Museum of Graffiti, and you contributed a wonderful piece. And I know I don't think you've been since we've opened this morning, but the museum is now open. Your piece is part of the this installation. You can't see it in this shop, but I guarantee you that it is up and available for the public to appreciate and see. And this is your piece. And so it's a wonderful piece done in your signature style. And it says in the thought bubble, same shit, different day. And so why same shit, different day?
I guess it's because of the fact, like, this piece, I kind of just put, like, more of my frustrations with not only with, like, the political climate, but, like, personal frustrations with everything going on since pretty much, since, like, the quarantine. And after some time, things have, like, felt like it's been, like, a blur. Like, time has just been, like, this one linear thing. But then like every month things something always happens and things start to overlap. And it's gotten to a point where it feels like every day like things are like coming to light, and even though things have been said for such a long time that people have like been raising their voices for, like issues that's been coming out, people have said these things for so long that it just starts feeling like a blur, like it starts feeling like the same story, but except this time we finally reached the climax. So that's pretty much how it's been like feeling, and that's pretty much the type of energy I've been putting into like this piece.
Yeah, and I've seen that lately when I've checked your feed, some of the work that you are creating, speaks to this moment in time and speaks to this frustration,
Oh
such as
yeah,
this
like
piece.
definitely. Yeah, that's like the very first piece I did since since like the incident. Like I won't lie, when I first heard about George Floyd and the video, it took me about a week to actually, not even like almost a week to actually watch it, because I saw like a photo and I was like, I can't look at this. I didn't want to look at it. But then it got to a point because I saw the eruptions and I saw like the protests. I wanted to I decided, okay, let me watch it, because at this point I have to not only understood, because I understood what was already happening just by the pictures, but I wanted to understand the moment, because I'm pretty sure when people watched the video of his death, they saw that moment, and it was like a moment that was not only just to hit you in your heart to see like what actually happened, but it was just like a moment where people were like, okay, this is not gonna slide at all. So when I saw the pictures, I was already like angry and upset, and I was frustrated and I was pretty sad. But when I saw the video, it hurt so much more. And but by the next day, I kind of like decided to. It was hard for me to lift myself back up to make the piece, but I decided I have to do. I had to like say something, because I haven't. I wasn't sure what I was feeling at the time. So that was pretty much what I was going through with that piece. And then every piece after that, my feelings started getting more and more certain as like time went on, at least as long as the weeks went. Like me realizing who I am, but like who are people in general. So that's pretty much what I was trying to get across.
I no, I love the piece, and I love that you chose to make art to talk about that moment and to talk about your emotions and what you're experiencing, witnessing this horrific act. It's really truly horrific um, moment to be captured. So important that it was captured on film, um, but so challenging and so difficult to see. The pieces that I'm seeing here, this piece and some of the other pieces, it looks like there is anger that's going on, and so out of the series that we've had today of these artist talks, I think that you are the youngest person that we've interviewed, and possibly, you know, and I don't know if this is true or not, but the way that I see young people sometimes, it's that your lives are even more so on the line because police think that it's easier or to brutalize young people. Do you see yourself in George's shoes, or have you considered that? Have you been worried about your own safety in these times?
There were times, like, even before George Floyd, like, I was worried about my safety in general because, like, I'm kind of like a small person, so I've always been, like, trying to, be wary of my surroundings. But there have been times where, like, ever since this, like, there were times where I question, like, at the moment something would happen, and I'm just like, I didn't realize it was because of race. I just thought, like, it was just something that happens in general. But then later on, I realized, at least as I got older, I started considering or just thinking about, was it because of my race? Was it because it was me? Like, luckily, I haven't really gotten to any dangerous situations when it comes to law enforcement myself. It's more of just like a social issue that happens towards me where it could have ended up that way if I reacted in a certain situation. But I've been like the way I grew up, I've been taught, and especially if you're black or any like person of color, you've been taught like to act certain ways, like hey, try to keep a low profile. Don't act like this in the stores. Don't try to look suspicious. Like that was one thing I've been told a lot. Don't look suspicious. And I was like, okay, I won't. I try not to look suspicious, and uh, and I really try to keep a low profile most of the time too. And I remember like specifically there was like one incident where there was this like it was kind of blatant racism, and it was to a point where like the person tried to blame it on me. Like I remember like when I was a freshman in college about like 4 years ago, I walked into like a Wendy's after school, and it was kind of like not a late night. It was just nearing the evening, and but it was a populated area. So I was walking across the parking lot to a Wendy's, and I see this car turn like this sharp ass turn, but I saw the car doing it, and I felt like I didn't feel like I was in any danger. I just thought this person was driving recklessly. But as I continued inside and I made my order, all of a sudden somebody comes up behind me and yells out, "Excuse me." And because of that loud yelling, I was like, oh, who's she yelling at? And it turns out she was yelling at me. She said that, she says, "Listen, I almost hit you with my car because you're so dark. I can't see you. You need to wear white pants or anything reflective. I'm
Wow.
telling you this for your safety." And it was a white woman with two of her kids who were right behind her yelling at me at this Wendy's. And the cashier girl at the Wendy's was also black. And I saw her face, and she was like, she gave a face where it's like, did I just see this happen? And then I didn't really reply to anything. I was kind of mad, but I was like, I didn't say anything. I just turned around and ignored her and just waited for my food. But my mood was like really like tarnished for like the rest of the day too. But as I got my food and I went back home, I saw that I had extra stuff more than I ordered. So I think the cashier girl kind of like hooked me up because she felt
Right.
bad.
Right.
But it kind of like bothered me to a point. And the ironic thing is that I was wearing white pants. She just didn't notice. So
Right. So
I, yeah,
she wanted you to sort of apologize for your blackness.
pretty much. She wanted me to apologize for being my skin color in a populated plaza with lights all over, bright lights too, because she didn't know how to drive and turn it into like a drive-through. So I couldn't believe it. I was like, did she really just say that to me? And I almost went off, but I remember like I was kind of like conditioned to not act out because I didn't want anything happening to me. So because I was conditioned to keep my head down low, if somebody like tries to get you in trouble, either ignore it or, try to like work your way around the situation. But now I feel like now it's kind of toxic to it's really toxic, and now that I'm conditioned to it, I don't know if I should send up to myself at a point. But I've been getting better, so that's pretty much what has been happening. And now with all this stuff, I now know that like, and I'm really happy to see young people protesting on the street saying like, okay, we really don't want this to happen anymore. This really shouldn't be a bother. And I know how like the media is probably trying to play it as like a race thing, but through my eyes, it doesn't seem like it's they're trying to play it as race, but I feel like it's more as like there's like a young people are trying to get like these there's like should be a new world order kind of thing. Like there should be you should be more compassionate. You shouldn't judge people more like this. And it's more like people who are way older on the generation that are more like conservative to their ideas, who kind of grew up in different times, don't see like the problem. So that's pretty
Sure.
much how I've been seeing it most of the time.
No, it's interesting. You bring up the point of learning to deal with your blackness as need of self-preservation, and so you're taught how to move in the world to avoid conflict and perhaps avoid brutality, um, that you will be subjected to because of your skin color. And it's a terrible thing, but a really necessary thing that is taught to people of color and to black and brown people in this country because of the history of violence against all of us in this country. And it's a terrible thing, but a really necessary thing to understand and have awareness of. And I love also that you're bringing up the awareness that's happening now with young people and finding their voice to protest out of compassion, out of a wanting for a better future, for a change that's a long time coming and that's really necessary. And I applaud everybody who's out here contributing, and you as well, for creating art that speaks to this, and taking a chance and doing that, and joining us at the museum to create a piece that speaks your voice and that shares your perspective, um, with the world and with our audience. I think it's very powerful and very important to find your voice, and when given the opportunity to say something uh, that makes a difference, and to really sort of tune into that. So thank you so much for your contribution and for your perspective on as a young person and with art. And so this is your piece that is now at the Museum of Graffiti, that everybody could come and see and witness, along with so many other wonderful pieces by artists from South Florida. The piece is also online for folks that are not able to come to Miami or to come to the museum, that are in quarantine or somewhere else. It's a great style. I love this style. It's something that we don't see much of in South Florida. So I love that this is the direction that you've taken with your art, and I'm very thankful for your contribution.
Thank you so much. Like, I think it's cool that I'm actually in a museum now, and this is actually my first museum piece. So I never thought that could actually happen to me as an artist myself, but it's perfect that it's actually the Museum of Graffiti to actually have a piece of my work. So I'm really just thankful for the opportunity you guys gave me to actually make something like this. And I really like how it came out. I love the colors and I like the character who I always like try to incorporate. So thank you so much.
Of course, of course. And so everybody, so that you know, this is Ruth, uh, and a wonderful local artist here in South Florida. Please follow her and follow her artwork. A wonderful young artist that has contributed to the show at the Museum of Graffiti, and we look forward to seeing more of your work, Ruth, and more contributions from you in the future. Thank you so much for your time today on this rainy Saturday down here in Miami. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And for everybody, we will continue the art talks throughout the day. Ruth, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you very soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.